What's for dinner today is a broccoli slaw ramen salad. It is delicious. Now check this out. This is what it looks like in our season's best. It does feature a savory maple seasoning, which is really yummy, and it's worth buying it just to make the salad. But I want to show you the one that I made yesterday, and you can see that I chopped it a lot smaller, and the reason I did that was because I found that it took too long to soften when the pieces were too large. And so I do recommend that you chop it up. I'm going to show you how I added different kinds of vegetables, and you can see the results. Well, you can see the results, but here's what I want to point out to you. So I'm standing on my tippy toes so I can actually see. Okay, so check this out. You can see hanging down there from my fork is a little piece of ramen that was put in here raw, and it has soaked up the juices of the salad, the dressing, everything. And so it's not all wet and glommy at the bottom, and it has this really soft kind of pasta mouthfeel added in with the crunch. So it's a very pleasant feeling salad to eat. And I think with kids especially, that's one of the things that they're very sensitive to. So this goes a little further in making it easy to encourage the non-salad people to try it as well. So this has been a day. You can see that it's all softened. It is absolutely delicious. It's so good. I could eat this whole bowl in one sitting, and that's not even a stretch of the imagination. It's probably a stretch of the imagination, but it's not a stretch. I could absolutely. It's so good. So I really want you to try it. So take a look. I'll walk you through all the steps, right from making your own homemade mayonnaise to make this dressing. Watch, take a watch. Okay, we're gonna get to work making our own mayonnaise so that we can make our own dressing. So we're gonna take two eggs. So this is the container that comes with the Flex Plus. But so that I can use it for all kinds of things, I'm gonna make it directly into the container that I'm gonna store it in, which is just a really wide mouthed jar. And I need it wide enough that I can fit my immersion blender down in there. All right, so let us put our 2 eggs in there. And it's such an easy thing to make. It is so much better to make your own. So we now have 2 tablespoons, and I'm doubling this. 2 tablespoons of, I'm using apple cider vinegar, but you can use lemon juice or other kinds of vinegar. We need a half a teaspoon of salt. There we go. And we need a teaspoon, 2 teaspoons actually, of Dijon mustard. So I like part grainy and part plain. There we go. And I'm also going to add, just for the fun of it, I'm going to add our green goddess dressing. I'm gonna put, that's probably close to a tablespoon. All right, and then I need 2 cups of oil. We just dump it all in together. This is the cool part of making it with an immersion blender. All right, because what's gonna happen is this is gonna separate automatically. Put these away. And then, here we go. I'm gonna assemble this, put this on, and set this down in here. I'm just gonna gently put it in here so that the oil is staying on the top half, okay? And now I'm gonna start it, and it's gonna blend at the bottom. I'm gonna tilt it so I can get the egg make sure that the egg is all blended. So I still have all the oil at the top, and now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tilt it, and then I'm gonna turn as I raise. I'm running into you can see that stuff there. And I'm just slowly raising, got it tilted so that it can get a little oil underneath, and it's changing the consistency. You can see now that it's getting into the top that it's getting quite thick. It's almost done. So I'm just going to go through in my glass jar. I can see everything, and I want to make sure that I have all incorporated. There's my green goddess dressing. Next seasoning, whatever it's called. And that's really it. It is super thick. Look at this. How easy is that? Now you have homemade salad dressing with the things that you like in it. We're just gonna scrape this out. I'm going to give it a rinse and put it in the dishwasher. And now I have homemade salad mayonnaise, and then I'm gonna use this to make my own dressing for this salad. All right, how easy was that? It is so much tastier to make your own. You can use whatever oil you like. And you can make some up, whip it up in like 2 minutes flat, just like that. All right, to make our dressing, we're gonna have 3/4 cup of the mayonnaise that we just made. We're gonna add 3 tablespoons of white sugar. We're gonna add 2 tablespoons of, I'm using apple cider vinegar because there's apples that go in the salad instead of white vinegar, or you could use what it calls for. And a teaspoon of savory maple. So savory maple is very mapley, but it's got smoke in it, dried smoke or whatever it is. So it makes it really kind of an interesting smoky. It's a little bit spicy, a little bit sweet, very, very aromatic. It smells delicious. That's what that means. That's the bottom line. And so there is our homemade dressing. So who needs to go buy yet another bottle when you can make your own that easily? All right, next. All right, we're gonna assemble our food processor part of our Flex Plus and just set this on. Actually, I should turn it around. There we go. And now it's ready to throw in some of the veggies. So what we're gonna use today, we need 8 cups of veggies. And broccoli and cauliflower are from the same family. They're cruciferous vegetables. And so we can mix and match them in, or we could use cabbage. We're also going to add a little kale. I'm just gonna chop these into smaller chunks so they'll fit through my hopper. And I'm going to also get a spare bowl so I can throw them all in the bowl as I'm going. And here we go. Why am I chopping this smaller than what it calls for in the recipe? Because when I made it the first time, I made them bigger, and what I found was it took like days to soften the vegetable and for the dressing to soak in. They stayed hard and crunchy, and I didn't like that. So I like mine, I'm going to make mine, chop them smaller. It's easier to eat. It's maybe not so pretty, but it's going to come together and be ready to serve in an hour or 2. That's my hope. Here's the other thing, is I save this, and then I strip off the thick, gnarly part, because this is tender and really delicious. It's actually, in my opinion, the tastiest part of the broccoli in this stem. And so then I just pull it all off. I don't worry about getting it perfect, and I use the majority of it. That's what I do. So give it a try, don't waste it, it's really good. Well, the thick skin is, or the outer layer is not tasty. It's really nice and mild though, so it's all chunked up. And now I have the majority of my salad. I have some kale, so I'm also going to add this, and I'm just going to strip it off the stem. The stem is not the nice part. And then I'm going to just chop this up. know, all of these cruciferous veggies are kind of stinky. They really need all of the other aspects of that salad to really soften them and sweeten them up. So it does definitely change as you let the science of it work. So don't be intimidated by the fact that it starts out stinky, because it will get really yummy as we go along. And that's why it needs time to sit and absorb that dressing. And then it's kind of like chocolate. Chocolate on its own is acidic, but when you add all the sugar, it's so good and we love it. Same like pop. Pop is extremely acidic and lots of sugar. So when you have the two opposites, it's very tasty. This is similar in its effect. All right, so that's the basis of my slaw, all nice and chopped. And now I use 3 different vegetables, cruciferous vegetables, to make this. And I needed about 8 cups. I made a little bit more, and I'm going to put the rest of the salad together in a moment. We are going to put the dressing on now and let it get started. So here's my dressing that I made. All of my sugar is now dissolved in there. It looks nice and creamy. Okay, so it's still what I would say at the stinky stage, but it needs time, so don't be afraid. All right, so we're gonna add some ramen noodles. So I just need to crush this. So I'm just gonna stick it in my little sandwich bag and use the flat side. That worked pretty good. So this actually soaks up the extra liquid, the juices and stuff from this salad. And so we want to get that in there as well and give it a stir. It also provides a really nice texture later when you're eating it. It's somehow kind of satisfying because there's like a little soft pasta-y sort of feel to the salad. All right, we're going to work on the apple, and we're going to use the julienne function. So we want it here. Actually, we want it here. And number 8 thickness. So we're going to be a little bit rectangular in size. Get our hopper here, and this just pops in here. Now I'm just going to chop It's fine. All right, so we're gonna put these in here and give that a twist, and it pops up. It's all spring-loaded. And you can see just how fast it's going to do my apples. I may have apples all over the counter. And you can see why this is such a popular tool. Our two apples are done just like that. So we'll set the Rapid Prep Mandoline aside. We'll add this to our salad. And then we'll add the dried cranberry as well. And all of those juices are going to get soaked up, and the apple will not brown because there's some sugar and in our dressing basically that is going to prevent the apples from browning. So we'll stir those in. Part of the apple juice is going to go in those ramen noodles, and now we're getting some color. How pretty is this? There we go. So this that I'm using is called, it's kind of like a spoonula. This is the small mix and scraper. So it is a scoop, a spatula, all in one. Let's make the candied nuts. So we do not need the lid for this pop and stir. But what we're going to do is we're going to put a half a cup of slivered, these are 3 tablespoons of sugar and a teaspoon of cinnamon and a tablespoon of water. That easy. And then all we do is we turn it to nuts. And we just watch it. So it's going to go ahead. You can see what it looks like at this point. And as it heats, it's going to dissolve the sugar, and then the stirring action is going to help it crystallize, and we will have these delicious nuts.